This is going to be the video of all videos for the Proslide XT. Welcome to Lawn Crack. My name is Ryan Shimana and I will be your host as we go over everything, absolutely everything you need to know about the Proslide XT. In my opinion, the Proslide XT is the very best option for a sulky for a commercial walk behind lawnmower. I have used single wheel Velkeys, dual wheel Velkeys, including jungle wheels, cage wheels, etc. In my opinion, nothing compares. I honestly don't understand why more lawn care companies have not switched over to using the platform style Velke sulky that you get with the Proslide from the wheeled versions of the past. The benefits are numerous, and I have those all listed out on the website, lawncrack.com. You can find them in the video description. In the description of the video, you will also find timestamps of where we go over how to repair different parts and pieces like the torsion springs, for example, and stuff like that. So if you don't need to watch the whole video, you can check the timestamps in the description, and then you can just jump to whatever part you're trying to figure out, like maybe you need to replace a gas shock or a torsion spring or the wear plate itself on the bottom. You can quickly and easily navigate to those areas of the video. But along with showing you how to repair absolutely everything that can possibly go wrong with your Proslide, I will kind of go over just some things that I've picked up as I've been using these things for roughly 10 years now. Yeah, so I hope you like them as much as I do, and I hope this video is very informative to you if you are looking to learn more about the Proslide XT or how to do repairs on it. First, let's take a look at what you get when you purchase a Proslide XT. We are an authorized dealer. We also sell all of the parts on lawncrack.com. So if you order a Proslide XT from us or Novacor, you will get this in the box. This is the actual Proslide XT itself. So this is the part of everything that you'll be standing on and stuff like that. You will also get the mounting bracket here. So this is what's going to go onto the back of your mower. And then this pin and cotter pin is what holds your Proslide onto the mounting bracket. If I flip this around real quick, that just locks in here like this. So that's all there is to it. The pin slides all the way through, and then we are connected. So that's how it hooks up to your mower and what will keep you on it. But for the purposes of this video, we don't need the mounting bracket or anything like that. We will just be working on the Proslide XT itself. I also wanted to show you all you need to work on a Proslide XT. You're gonna want a narrow width flathead screwdriver. This is gonna be used to pop the springs off of your Proslide if you need to do that. And then 3 wrench sizes is all you need. We have a 7/16, a 1/2 inch, and a 9/16. And then I also have the corresponding sockets for those same things. And then it is also nice just to have a little hammer. So you can see this is just a little hammer, just to kind of tap some of these pins back in. It'll come in handy. Don't actually necessarily need the hammer, but everything else you do. And I will be using an impact here to just speed up the process of everything as we work on this. But one thing I love about the Proslide XT is how quick and easy the repairs are. There's really not a repair on this thing that takes more than 5 minutes to complete. The parts are reasonably priced, and if you treat your Proslide with respect, you will not need to replace very much on it at all. Okay, so before we get into actually doing the repairs themselves, I will show you how to do absolutely everything you'll need to know. But I just kind of wanted to give you an overview of what to look for, what can possibly go wrong with your Proslide. So let's start with the bottom of the Proslide itself. This right here is your wear plate. And if you notice right now, it is larger than our diamond plate, which is our deck plate. So you always want your wear plate to be wider than your deck plate. 100%, you don't ever want to start wearing into your diamond plate right here. This diamond plate is much more expensive to replace than the wear plate. So the Proslide is designed to slide on top of the surface. You don't want to take it on pavement. If you're mowing a really gravelly area, you're probably not going to want to mow that either. You're just going to want to walk behind your mower. The great thing about the Proslide is how it retracts up, and you don't have your platform where the wheels and everything would be just dangling on the ground, smashing you in the ankle, all that kind of stuff, possibly jackknifing and all that. That is all eliminated with this, but the one sacrifice you make is you can't drive on the pavement. So you simply step off and step back on. I'll roll a little clip to show you how that works right now. It's a very smooth, easy process. And once you get the hang of it, it's just natural, in my opinion. That's how I felt using it. So all that is holding on the wear plate is 5 bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And they go through the wear plate and the deck plate, which is your diamond plate. And they're simply hold on with bolts and nuts and washers. So that's that. Your wear plate is going to wear down over time. It's just inevitable. In my experience, if you keep it on the grass and only on the grass, it'll last a solid 2 years, if not more. So just use common sense, don't be lazy, and you won't have to replace your wear plate. Now, the same cannot be said for the torsion springs and the gas shock spring. And right off the bat, when you are working on this, this has tension on it. You need to be careful that this doesn't snap back and just smash your hand or your finger or whatever, because that would hurt really bad. But the things that are going to go wrong that you're going to want to replace, because there's actually things that are going to go wrong that I simply they fell off and I never replaced them and never had an issue. So I wanted to let you know about that. You don't need to waste money replacing some of these parts. But some parts, if they do break or fail over time, which is going to happen because we have compressed gas in here, we have little arms on our torsion springs, it's just inevitable. Even if you use them 100% properly and you're very careful, they're just going to wear out and break over time. It's just the way it is. But you have 2 torsion springs right here. So these I'll show you when I take them off, but they have these little arms on them. One of the arms is going to snap off over time. So this is one thing right here. So your torsion springs right here. So you'll notice that these are broken if your Proslide flap is just kind of flapping and kind of actually hitting you when you're walking behind the mower, which is obviously not ideal. These are the 2 other things, the gas shocks. They're actually called gas springs, but these are identical, they're interchangeable, they're exactly the same. One's just here and one's just here, they're doing different things, but you're gonna have the same issue. Your Proslide's not gonna be held back up in the transport position as it should be if one of these springs loses compression. To find out if a spring has lost compression, you can simply pop it off, and if you can push down on it just relatively easily, then your spring is no good. If this has full compression, which I'll show you when I take it off, it is very hard to get it to compress at all. And that is why you want to stick around for when I show you how to do the repair, because I have nice little tips and tricks that make it easy to work with, even though the springs don't compress. So that's honestly it, guys. You have the torsion springs to potentially replace over time, and you have the gas springs, and then the wear plate if you're going to take it on concrete and stuff like that. The things that you don't need to replace on the Proslide XT include this stuff down here. So it's going to be a little awkward as I'm trying to hold this and stuff, but this brass piece right here, if you can see that, it's a safety feature so your Proslide does not retract under the mower as easily when you're going downhill. I have heard some complaints about how the Proslide wants to go under the mower when you're driving downhill, but it's called gravity, so I don't know what we're going to be able to do about that. It's gravity. It's not going anywhere. if something's going downhill, it's going to want to continue to go downhill. So these have fallen off at every Proslide I've ever owned. We've never replaced them, and we've never experienced any issue because we did not replace them. So that's one thing. Don't worry about this if this disappears. And the other thing to not worry about is this actuator plate right here. It's this tempered metal piece inside the Proslide. It's U-shaped. It's what's kind of creating that space right there, besides the different angles on the deck plate and the wear plate itself. But this piece, you can see it sticking up right here. That falls off too. Don't worry about it. You don't need it. So one more thing, which before I forget, when you order a Proslide XT, it'll have a block of wood in here in between the deck plate and the wear plate. It'll also have pieces of paper in the box saying remove that piece of wood. So you just want to pull that piece of wood out. It's just for shipping purposes. But just so we are fully encompassed here and make sure we don't miss anything at all, I want this to be a very thorough video, and that's why I put the timestamps if you just want to jump around. But potentially over time, this pin right here and this pin right here can wear down, and I will show you more information about that when we get to that point. There's also a couple bearings in here that could potentially need to be replaced. The bearings are super cheap, so are the pins, and this is just after several years of use. I'm talking 5 or 6 years, you may need to look into replacing the pins or the bearings. So if you're using it every day like my company did, we had 3 on the back of each one of our walk behind mowers. You know, eventually you will have to replace these pins. I think in the 9 years that we ran 3 Proslides, we replaced 1 or 2 pins. So not a non-issue, but I did want to cover that. I mean, potentially you could have to replace one of these arms or something if you bend it or something like that. But for the most part, there's nothing's going to go wrong with these heavier duty metal pieces like that. One thing, if you are looking on longcrack.com, the only thing we don't have on our website is the nuts and bolts and washers. They're just nuts and bolts and washers. So if you have some laying around that will fit, feel free to use them. Some of them that go in from the bottom and hold things like this on right here, and they're coming through the deck plate and holding these black metal pieces on the top. You do want to make sure those are a flush fit. They're kind of tapered. The bolts that are down there, they're actually more like screws with a tapered beveled edge that fit flush with the bottom of the diamond plate. So you may want to just make sure that you're using the right bolt if you're just going to use something that you already have. But I think we are ready to just hop into doing some of the repairs. Okay, the first repair I'm going to walk you through on the Proslide XT is going to be the wear plate replacement. That is this black plastic piece that encompasses the whole bottom of your Proslide. All you need is a 7/16 wrench and a 7/16 socket, or you could do 2 wrenches or whatever. But you will need at least 1 wrench to get into here. You're not going to be able to fit a socket on the middle one. There's 5 evenly spaced that need to come off. These 2 in the middle are just for the deck plate. Since we're not messing with the deck plate, these 2 stay on in this procedure. But it is literally this simple. If you want to see the whole thing come off, I'll put the card up in the corner. But I'll just show you how you do 1, and then you'll get the idea. You take the other 5 off, and you replace your wear plate, put the new one back on. So there we go. You take that off, you just have your bolt and a washer on the back, which comes through to a lock washer and a nut on the front. And you're just gonna wanna run down all 5 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we already got 5 out, and you're done. Take them all out, make sure you don't lose your nuts and bolts. And then the only thing you're gonna wanna do is really get in here and scrape the grass buildup from the bottom of your deck plate while you have this off. It'll kind of build up along in here sometimes too. So just scrape the bottom of your deck plate clean and then slap your new wear plate back on and you are good to go. And you'll just do the absolute reverse of what you did. Put your bolts through. A little word of advice here is get them all hand loose like that. Like that's not even tight. Just get all your bolts and nuts through so all your holes line up, and then go tighten them. And I recommend tightening, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like you would on a lug nut pattern or something like that. Just kind of go back and forth so you're not just going in one direction. But that is it to replace the wear plate on your Proslide XT. Okay, the next item we will replace on the Proslide XT is going to be the gas shock. We have one here and we have one in the middle in here. So the way I recommend to replace a gas spring on your Proslide is going to be as I show you here. We're going to want to take this bolt out right here, and that's going to slide this whole pin out, and then we'll be freed up. We won't have to worry about it snapping back or anything like that, and that is what will allow us to get our compressed springs back on our Proslide. So this is a 1/2 inch right here. So there's the pin. Over time, if you take this out, you will notice that it's wearing on the edges here. Your middle will still be thick, but it'll be wearing on each edge. So that is something to look for. If you start to get some wobble like this in your Proslide, you can pretty much rest assured that this pin has wore down. But now that that's off, we can take it like that, but we're still connected by a gas spring right here. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to replace both of them because I think that would be a good idea. But we'll start with this one. We'll just go ahead and pop this off. This is where you're going to want a screwdriver with the narrow flat head, and this is why, because you need to get your narrow flat head on your screwdriver in here. So to get these off, you just pop that in there and just pull your clip, pop that little clip up, and the way the clip works is once you get a little bit of pressure release, it just pops right up. Your clip should stay in place. If your clip does not stay in place, you can finagle it back on there, so don't freak out. It's not that big of a deal. It'll probably aggravate you trying to get it back on, but other than that, no issues at all. One thing you're going to want to do is what I would do is you're going to want to take a picture before you start really messing with this so you know which way that your gas shocks go back on. Because if you reverse this and had the cylinder part on this side, it's not going to work. So I always would just snap a picture and then I'd reference my picture. But looking at it right now, as long as you have the cylinders at the axis point right here, at the pivot point, whatever you want to call that, I'm drawing a blank on that word, but as long as you have the cylinders in the middle, if you will, that is where you want them, and then your Proslide will function as it should. But we'll just go ahead and take this one all the way off, then we'll take the other one off, and we'll just walk through this. So there's the process of doing that, getting the shock off again. It's trying to come off on me. It's a little funky, but it's not that bad. So there we go. See, my thing's trying to move off on me, so I'll just put that back in there using my screwdriver. And that's that. So if you can see in there, it's just a little clip, and once the ball snaps in, which you can just push this in and it'll snap in. You don't have to mess with your clip on the way in. It's just to keep the ball right here, your little ball joint, from popping out. And that is actually another thing. These ball joints potentially will wear down over time. It's a good idea to slap a little bit of grease inside here whenever you do replace a gas spring. But to put it on, it's literally just squeeze, just squeeze it on there. So that's on there like that. I have my other ball joint is right there. So to get this side back on, I would simply just push it on there, and now we're connected again, and then that'll just come back like this, right? So I don't know if it's necessary to take this one off. It's literally the same. I'm gonna pop that clip. I'm gonna pop this clip out of this ball right here, and then that's it. And then I'd put it back on the same exact way, just make sure my cylinder's lined up. So that's that. And this is where it gets a little funky because of the tension on everything. This hole right here doesn't want to line quite back up just right. That's where the hammer will come in handy. And really, all you want to do is get it started. Make sure you're on, your pin's going to go in from the side that has the part that has the bolt. It's going to hold it on, right? So there's no bolt hole on the other side. So I'll make sure I'm putting the pin in from the right side. And then just get the initial part lined up right there. But if you notice, it's not going to go through. Oh, there it goes. That was literally the easiest that's ever gone back on for me. So I don't know if this one's like brand new. We'll call it a demo unit. It has like an hour away. This is actually the Proslide we're giving away for the GIE countdown we're currently doing. But yeah, normally that takes some finagling and stuff like that, and then you end up needing to tap that in with your hammer. But we got lucky for the demonstration purposes. I'm not gonna complain. Okay, so to put it back on, I mean, it's just one bolt holding that on. We got it in there. Boom, boom. Voila. And we're back in business. We can test it, and we see we are operating just as we should with all the tension still on the Proslide, just like when we took it off. Okay, next up, we are going to replace the torsion springs on your Proslide XT. So in my experience, when you're doing this, only one side is going to break. I typically just replace that one side. Whenever I would buy this, I would just buy the kit because of how it's priced. I'd buy the kit with both springs, and it comes with the little pieces of pipe inside here. But I just get the kit, just replace whichever one you needed. It seemed to me like one breaks more than the other, but I honestly can't remember which one that was. And then if you notice, I am holding one more tool that you more than likely already have anyways, but you will need some kind of pliers. I would actually prefer needle nose, but these will get the job done. But what we're gonna need to do is, in your case, you're gonna have one's gonna be broken already, but in my case, I'm gonna need to release the tension from both of these torsion springs. So I would do that now by simply grabbing a hold of it really well, take it down below its little holder thing, and then voila. So that's serious tension on there. So please be careful as you're working on this.
Do you want to spin it?
That's fine. So that's it. There's two of them, and I'll show you the size difference when we get them off, but you will want to do that before you do this, which is just take this bolt off right here. We still have the same 1/2 inch. So actually, to do all these repairs, you just need the 7/16 and the 1/2 inch. The 9/16 is really just going to be used to put the bracket on if you're going to use the the bolts that they gave you, which why not, So to get this bad boy off, we've released our tension. Oops. Make sure your impact's going the right way, and then voila. So we can take that off now. So there's another pin that could potentially wear down over time, but this is brand new basically, so no wear on this one, and we're good to go. There was a little bit of tension still left on this, but that's that. We got it. Okay. So this is what you find inside of each torsion spring. There's these little tiny pieces of pipe. They'll come with it when you buy a replacement, so you don't need to worry about it, but I mean, there's nothing special about this pipe whatsoever. And then here's the size difference. So you can see that, you know, one's bigger than the other. If you notice on here, one's bigger than the other. So it's very obvious which goes which on this. But the key to doing this successfully is making sure that you get it back on there just right. The very first step is we'll put our pieces of pipe back on. So there's our pieces of pipe. We'll go ahead and we'll slide our springs back on. And then we will just roughly get this into position right there like so. Okay, so now what you need to understand what's going on here is we need to get tension on our springs. So this side is in properly. Let's make sure we're covering everything. So this has these two wings on either side. So these are holding this little arm like so when it's in place. So that's holding that. And then you have basically the same type deal going on right here, but it's more of like a little hook type symbol thingy on the Proslide itself. So these are where your torsion springs arms are locking into. The outside ones will lock into that, and then the inside ones will lock into these. So that is what's going on right there. Let me get my pieces of pipe back on. Voila, voila. Pipe and torsion spring. Okay, so my short side, it just basically naturally is going to go into place the way I set it in here. But on this side, what I need to do is I actually need to bring this around one more like that. So I need a little bit of tension on that longer side. You will too once you get it in there. So that's why it kind of popped up when I took it off, because there is a little bit of tension here just from the way it is, and then we still need to get this all the way back into this holding spot so it works properly. But we get it in there good enough. We'll take our pin, and we just need to get our pin started, which with the tension on it, you got to finagle and get it just right, but it's really not that bad. And there it is right there. So let me line up my other side. So voila. So I actually didn't need the hammer in this video, but as you use yours and things start to wear and stuff like that, you probably will need that hammer to get those pins back in. Let's go line that back up. We can go ahead and actually put this back on all the way. We're done with this. You may want to leave that loose until you've done it a couple times and know 100% that you did it right too. Voila, make sure it's tight. Okay, and then basically all that's left is I need to get this bad boy back in position right there, which I'm going to want to grab it with my pliers again. This is the most dangerous part, in my opinion. This is where you wanna get a really good grip on it, get your hand out of the way, and just lock it in place. Voila. So hopefully you do it that smoothly. I've done this more times than I wish I could admit. The smaller side, there's not as much tension on the smaller side, so it's not nearly as hard, but same type deal, lock it into place. So we're on that little fin that was on this piece, and we're locked under the hook that was on this piece, and we have officially, completely done everything you'll possibly need to do to your Proslide XT. I didn't really mention anything about the little ball joints which is what all the gas springs are locking into. Like I talked about them a little bit, but not replacing them. But it's just so straightforward. You're just going to need, you know, wrenches. Get your wrench on there and pop them off, pop them on. Some of them are threaded into the pieces themselves, and some of them have nuts on the backside. So look out for that. Yeah, I really don't know what else to say about the Proslide XT. That is everything you need to know in my experience owning basically 4 to 5 at a time. We always had backups just in case. I always recommend getting the replacement parts that you need most commonly. If you go to longcrack.com, you will find a discounted package of the springs right here, the gas springs, the torsion springs, and the wear plate. And we have a couple combinations of those where if you wanted to buy those all together and throw them in your trucks, you would have that, and we'll save you a little bit of money from buying them individually. We have the best price on the Proslide XT in the world. We feel it's the best sulky in the world. We also offer 10% off all Proslide parts and GoSlide. If you like the GoSlide for whatever reason, I do see some use cases where a GoSlide could be just as good as a Proslide, even though it does not retract. But we have the GoSlide for sale along with the Proslide, all the parts for both. And we have gridirons, rack system, and all that for sale too. So if you need any of that kind of stuff, you can go through us and get it a little cheaper than going through Nove themselves or any of the other dealers. We've searched everywhere and we're the cheapest, and that's kind of Lawn Crack's deal, is trying to provide value to the lawn care and landscaping industry, because that is what Leap started. Our success was running our lawn care business, and you know, we're just trying to help in any way we can. We do the websites and the SEO and all that kind of stuff if you need help online. But we also sell parts and Proslides and GoSlide parts and racks and all that. And we're adding stuff constantly. So check it out. We have an awesome blog going on lawncrack.com. You can learn more about different aspects of the lawn care and landscaping industry. And yeah, man, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, and remember to hit that subscribe button. If you hit the bell, you'll be notified when we post a new video. We appreciate you watching very much. Thank you. Until the next video, keep making money.